What we're seeing is really a big shift for BSC, and really it's across the nation. It's the younger baby boomers, they're all retiring, and that's what we're seeing. When I think about that, it's a legacy. Their experience, the knowledge, the contributions they've made, the difference they've made for students, customers, other employees. It's huge, and it's a sad time, but yet it's a good time when you think about the value in what they're leaving, their legacy they're leaving here.
Well, Vicki is the journalistic, ethical conscience of BSC, and we are going to miss her greatly. She has been here for, I think, almost 16 years, and every day she comes and she writes stories for BSC. She writes news releases, she writes articles, she writes bios of people. She is the steady writer, the voice, all those things. And she's never met a story that she doesn't make fresh or dive into with new eyes. It's an amazing thing. We have the same news releases every year, a lot of them. It's the same things happen. We talk about the same things, you know, an academic year is cyclical. And you do that long enough and you kind of get in a rhythm of that. You don't want to think about it too much. You can basically copy and update last year. We get busy. Vicki never does that. Vicki approaches every single story she does, even if she's done it 15 times, it's new to her. She digs in, she researches, she goes and she learns more and she gives it a new angle, and I'm so grateful for it. I love her journalistic passion and her ethics, and just that she is such the conscience of our department, and her flexibility and all that she brings, and she will really, really be missed in that way. She digs in and she's wonderful, and we'll miss her a lot.
Well, I've worked with Marilyn for many years, and the first thing that pops into my mind is dependable. She's one of the most dependable people I've ever worked with. She's extremely conscientious about her work. She takes pride in what she does, and she's always willing to help everyone.
Marilyn's kind of been the face of the NECE. She greets all the guests, students, faculty that come in. There's usually no one that gets by her without a smile and a hello.
I've had a great working relationship with Marilyn, and I'll definitely be sad to see her go.
She's been a great support to the faculty for the energy department and the other departments on campus. She does a lot of printing for them and putting together binders, so I know that they are greatly going to miss her.
And I'll definitely be sad to see her go, but I want to wish Marilyn and Gary a happy retirement, and it's awesome that they'll be able to move forward in the next chapter of their lives. So I wish Marilyn well and look forward to retaining our friendship for many, many years.
You know, Dan came to BSC with many years of industry experience, both in the operations side and in training and developments, which was a huge advantage to our department, knowing that a lot of the things that we do are for training and development.
You know, Dan's a real good guy. Dan's one of those guys that's got a heart of gold. He came to BSC twice. He actually worked at Minn Kota Power, and then he came to BSC and worked for us for several years. He went back to Minn Kota Power and did some training there, and then came back to us for a second time.
So Dan typically taught for our electric power technology program, which is offered online only, and students in that program are taking our courses for their employer. And often feedback that we would receive from those students is Dan understood what they needed to do for their job and for our courses, and how he would often help them apply the skills that they were learning in our courses to their everyday responsibilities. And they always said he has a charismatic approach to how he taught and their well-being and how they were going to use the knowledge that they were gaining in their career.
He wanted people to do well, and he's eager to pass on his knowledge from his 30-plus years of experience in the industry. And he just went in every day with that same attitude, and easygoing guy, and just a big heart.
Dan was one of those guys that was always willing to help us out when we ran into challenges and within the department, and would step outside his role to help us out.
And congratulations to Dan, and Dan's just a really good guy. He's one of those guys that really cared about his students, his co-workers, just a heart of gold, just a very good guy, and wish him the best in his retirement, and thank him for his service here at BSC.
Yeah, so we'd just like to thank Dan for the commitment and all the years that he's worked at BSC, both helping us out in the online and in the classroom. And we're fortunate enough that Dan's committed to helping us continue by being an adjunct.
Well, Henry's a real good one for us at BSC. He has a passion when it comes to, especially when you get him into a philosophical debate. You know, Henry will get into this conversation and he'll take a conversation to the fullest. I mean, I think everyone would agree with that statement. But Henry is one that will, you know, get into this long conversation, the philosophy of it all, and then when you know you're in trouble, you know you're in a long road when he starts kind of dipping his head and starts digging in, and that's the part that I'm going to really miss with him. We had a lot of great conversations, and I appreciate that part and that passion. Henry is one that when he connects to an issue, he is one that's going to pursue it to the fullest. He will, especially when he has a passion about the topic, he'll find as much information about it as possible and really drive and look for a solution that will, you know, be fair. And again, I think that's a strength that he brought to the table. Well, I think, you know, when I visited Henry's classes for his teaching demonstrations, you know, it was a conversational classroom, and so the students had, you know, were able to speak up and really discuss different items. And I think, you know, again, that the students seem to be willing to engage into these conversations. And as I mentioned before, you know, he's got a passion, and you know, he'll go into this philosophical debate about a certain point, but I think he's very fair, and he will listen to what a student will bring to the table. Probably more so than he listened to me, I guess. So he's a KU guy, Kansas University of Kansas. He's definitely a Jayhawk through and through. And again, I want to thank Henry for really his passion and what he spent his life here at Bismarck State College. He has made an impact. He will be missed, and I'm actually very happy that we'll be able to keep him as an adjunct into the next few years as well. So although it is a bittersweet transition for us, we will still be able to benefit from the strength of his teaching, and I look forward to that continuing.
In the classroom, he's very hands-on orientated, very experienced. One of the things that's impressed me over the last couple of years is his willingness to accept some of the new technologies, some of the new things, aluminum body, waterborne paints. I kind of thought that the guy would be on his way out, you know, knowing that he had 1 or 2 years left, but instead he just did just the opposite, and he embraced a lot of the new technologies. Well, I think when he started, they probably used rocks to fix a lot of different things. It has changed a lot, and probably the most in the last 10 years. He gets along well with the students. The students respect him because of his experience and because of his ability to learn the new technologies. I guess he's forceful but gentle, if you want to look at it that way. He cares greatly for the students. That shows every day that I see him. You know, I've talked to him a little bit about retiring, and he just wants to finally sit back and enjoy life. He enjoys fishing, he's got horses, he lives down by the river, so, you know, one of the most stressful times was when we had the flood. So he was down, and it was just kind of amazing. You know, they got the flood warning and everything like that. He's still stuck around, but he said, you know what, at 2 o'clock, once the students are gone, I'm gone, I gotta go sandbag my house. But he took one afternoon off during that time period, but other than that, he was committed to the students. That came first, and then protecting his house came second. Rich brought the program to a level that will compete with anything in the state or anything in the nation. And I think a lot of that has to do with his willingness to accept new technologies and try to better the program. And I hope that we can find somebody that will carry down that tradition, but that's going to be hard to do. Rich has done a very, very good job with the program.
Kitty Netzer's retiring? We might as well just close down the whole place now. We can't go on without her. But seriously, Kitty brings a great joy to everything she does. She also is one of the most creative people I know. She also brings a great passion to everything she does. And so we are going to miss her like crazy. Seriously, kind of seriously, we are not going to be the same without her.
When I was hired in 2007, she was my mentor, and she's been a mentor ever since. It wasn't just that first year of mine, and she's just been invaluable, so she's going to be missed.
I love Kitty. I don't know what else there is to say. I'm horribly saddened by the fact that she's retiring. I can understand why, but we're going to miss her so much. As my colleagues have said, she's going to leave a void. Her departure will leave a void in our department.
They don't even know it yet, but our future students are going to miss Kitty like crazy. She has a patience in dealing with students, and she brings a creativity and a innovation to the way she teaches, you know, using videos and music, and it's not at all uncommon for her to just break into song in the middle of class, and still tying it all back to writing.
We all go to her when we need something. If we've had a bad day, we go to Kitty. If we've had a good day, we go to Kitty. If we want to complain about something, we go to Kitty. We always go to Kitty. And I don't know what we're going to do now without Kitty, so it's going to be a very sad day.
So I think the most surprising thing about Kitty, and what I actually love to tell students about Kitty, I rat her out all the time, is that she loves The Walking Dead. And that always surprises her because she's just like the sweetest little lady. And you can't forget the AC/DC Highway to Hell ringtone. Students love to know that about her.
We are bereft at the thought of trying to go on without Kitty.
Well, if she was here, I guess right now, I would say I love you, Kitty, and I'm sorry that you're going to be gone, but I wish you well, and I hope you have a great retirement. Come visit us. We love you.
We will stagger on somehow, but it'll be less joyfully, less passionately, and less creatively.
We're just going to miss her so much.
And I love you, Kitty, too. And we are really, really thrilled for Kitty to be enjoying retirement and just a little bit envious, really, of her in her retirement.
My first memory of Marv at BSC was asking him to play handball with me because I heard that he played handball. And so I went to the YMCA with Marv, and he promptly beat me badly. On our campus, he first came here as a campus pastor. He was cross-country coach. He was the baseball coach and adjunct faculty, and then faculty. He actually taught classes for BSC a number of times at the North Dakota State Penitentiary. His courses have evolved over the years. He has taught Introduction to Sociology, Social Problems, Criminology, Marriage and Family. When I came here, he was teaching Introduction to Psychology. He's moved over solely to religion and teaches world religion, religion in America, Old Testament, New Testament, and Life and Letters of Paul. He is an ordained Lutheran minister and has served on several parishes in South Dakota and North Dakota. Marv's is pretty laid back, and it's apparent to me that his students appreciate him a lot, and I think that's what we appreciate most about him within our department. He's fun to be around. Well, I think one of the things that people will miss is his invocations. I think Marv's breadth of knowledge about religion and different religious traditions is very clear in his invocations. And I think he gets people to think in different ways. We'll also miss him being around all the time. The nice thing is he does intend to do some adjunct teaching, so he is going to be around a little bit, and that's going to be very good. His contribution to BSC is almost immeasurable, and I think there are so many people that would want to thank him, including me, for his service at BSC in so many different ways. You know, that I think is something all of us are thankful that we have known him for these many years.
Mike's been here a long time. Yeah, how many years?
35.
35 years.
He's ready to retire.
He's been here long enough.
I think he will leave a legacy of quality and customer service. We're pretty well known around the state for that. In fact, I was just talking to somebody the other day who's been to all the campuses and said, you know, BSC has the best food service, best food, best customer service, hands down of anybody in the state. So he's definitely leaving that legacy.
Yeah, he's always constantly behind you, you know. If you look at the corner of your eye, here he is, you know. You think he's gone, and here he comes around the corner. But no, he's been really good. I've been with him for 20 years, so.
He likes to go fishing, and hopefully he will continue to be able to go fishing with his son, grandson, enjoy those times with them.
He's a fun guy.
He likes to go to the casino.
Every time I come in, he's got to show me a picture of his grandson and how proud he is of him. So, yeah. When they're serving, he's out visiting with all the patrons, making sure they're comfortable, making sure their food is good, getting the latest updates on this, that, and the other. Always a smiley face, and that will be missed by a lot of people. Yep, him doing his roaming around and visiting with people.
Lunchtime, he likes to wander around out there and visit. Likes to visit.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, the highlight of the 20 years that I've worked with him is coming into that Mystic Marketplace after it was done and it was open for the public. The guy had a grin from ear to ear, and anybody who wanted to, come on back, let me show you the back of the house, and isn't this great, and isn't this great? And, I mean, so proud.
Still
and rightly,
showing.
Does he still?
Still showing people as they come through. Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
So proud, and rightly so. Yeah.
I'm glad Mike can retire, and you know, he's got a grandchild, and you know, go on vacation and
enjoy the rest of his life.
Yeah, yeah. So it's good for him.
Yeah.
We thank you, Mike, for all your knowledge and wisdom. We will continue your legacy.
Yeah, it's been great working here, and thanks for the memories, Mike.
Mike, I just want to say thank you for the 35 years you've put in at BSC, the time, the dedication. You've always put forth your best, and clearly it has shown. I really hope that you do take some time off and enjoy your grandbaby, do some fishing, and just enjoy life, and know that you've done a great job here at BSC. Thanks.
Well, Jim is another one that's been at Bismarck State College probably since the Stone Age. I think what he's brought forward is, again, a passion for the student. Few faculty will spend as much time advising students that Jim does. And I think, you know, it isn't just during the advising time period, you know, in a typical fall semester when it starts in November and then goes through the end of the semester. Jim has always worked with students throughout the entire semester. And I think he's built that reputation as someone who's going to really work with you as a student to find the best path. He's going to advocate for you when it comes to your academic plan. And I think that is just so valuable for Bismarck State College to have someone like that. Well, I think, again, with Jim in the classroom, very straightforward in terms of, you know, what the expectations are. I think he was very fair that way, presenting what is the necessary route for them to be successful. I think one thing about Jim that he's a trickster. He likes to, as they say, bang on the bee's nest, and I think that's what's kind of fun, is to be around someone like that who's always going to jab you a little bit and kind of push your buttons a little bit to say, hey, you know what? We're in a business that for a lot of things is very serious, but we can also have a lot of fun. And so I think that's one thing that Jim brought to the table, is that there was a lot of community, and he brought people in, and usually it was by some of those those fun little jabs to get them all worked up, and then kind of bring them back in and say, you know what, wasn't that kind of fun that you got all worked up over nothing. But Jim is a trickster, and I think that's one piece that I'm going to miss a lot from him. And again, thanking Jim for the time he spent at Bismarck State College. He's been that real grounded person for us. As a department chair, he brought a lot of history to that position. It helped me in my transition in my role, and I thank him for that. Also, I'm very grateful that we'll be able to keep Jim teaching as a part-time instructor, adjunct for us. So I think the strength that he brought to the classroom, we're going to continue to see that as we go forward. So I thank him for his time and his efforts at Bismarck State.
Dusty, I understand you're asking me about Drake. Now, I'll tell you, but you can't record this, okay? So the camera's off? Okay. Drake is weird, okay? I'm serious. First, his name's Fred. I mean, if you said Fred, would you know who you're talking about? I mean, he doesn't go by his name, he goes by Drake. Now, you know why he goes by Drake? He's born on Halloween. It sounds like Dracula. Dracula, I mean, this is weird stuff, right? And you know what he did for his PhD? He studied bats, okay? This guy is weird. Well, you know that. So now, are we ready to start running? Yeah. Okay, so we're running now. Okay, so here's what I want to say about Drake. What a nice guy Drake is. He's really, I mean, we're going to miss Drake around here. Drake is the first guy I ever met on the BSC campus. I drove up. First, I got lost coming to BSC, by the way, for my interview, but that's another story. At any rate, I got up here on campus and I parked outside what I didn't know was the Jack Science Center. That's where they told me to park, and I walked, and this guy, Draker dressed guy, that sounded funny. Drake dressed to the nines, looking really good in a suit, came out and met me, and he's the first guy I actually met on campus,
There are stories of Drake having the long hair and the ponytail. Now, he was dean when I was hired on at Bismarck State College. That tail thing moved away. I don't know what happened to it.
Came in with his haircut, and I was in shock, and the rumor went out everywhere. She made him cut his hair. She made him cut his ponytail off. I swear, I did not make Drake Carter cut his hair.
Drake has really dedicated his life to this college and has done an outstanding job for us in a number of roles. First, as a biology teacher, I think A&P he taught, and then he was dean and he was associate vice president, and then I was delighted to offer him the job of provost when Wayne Bolks retired. So Drake, we're going to miss you around here. I'm told, some people tell me that you might grow your hair long again. I don't know if that's true or not, but best wishes in your retirement.
I will thank him, though, for being a strong mentor for me as I transitioned into this role. Really, the day-to-day conversations, just popping in and having a time just to share some stories and just to get to know him better has helped me in this role, and I thank him for that.
Mike McCormack, yeah, they're our institution within the institution.
You get some characters, of course, once in a while. You get a Michael McCormack who's a personality of all of his own.
I know when my youngest son went here, but I know he came into my office one day and he had been in Mike's class, and Ben wasn't particularly a history buff, but he came in and he sat down. He said, "That McCormack," he said, "he's telling stories and you're laughing, you're having a good time, and before you know it, you've learned history."
He didn't use notes. Mike McCormack just talked to you, put stuff on the board, and you you got hypnotized just listening to him, and that's what you learn. I remember my daughter, one of my daughters had taken the same class years ago, and she said, Mom, don't worry about the book. Just listen to everything he says. Write notes on everything Mike McCormack says, because he is the book. And it worked. It's the only B I got was from Mike, because I wasn't good at the drop quizzes.
Well, what would you do without a Mike McCormack? He's a legend within the institution.
What can you say about Mike McCormack? I mean, he's like the Moses on our campus. You know, you have unique people, some more than others, and Mike is just, I mean, he's sort of like the face of BSC right now. Everybody seems like in town knows who he is.
Well, Mike has taught 3 generations of people.
He's a wonderful teacher, a wonderful teacher. The students just love him, and Mike is one of those steady people that, you know, while he's not going to be much of a vocal advocate, but he's just steady and supportive of what the college was trying to do.
He's an amateur photographer, so any kind of photography that was going on in campus, he would be, if they asked, he was there.
You know, he obviously has had a huge impact on the BSC community, and everybody recognizes him for his master ceremony throughout the years, and of course within the community, I think that everybody recognizes the different contributions he's made.
When Mike retires, it's going to be quite a void to fill when he's gone. And we called him on the side, we called him the Oracle, because if something was happening on campus, he pretty much knew what was happening. And
Mike McCormack, you know, we call him the campus bugler, because if you want something spread around campus, you just have to tell Mike, and it doesn't take long.
You know, he's a living legend, for gosh sakes. He's all over the place. And the thing that always amazes me is he's a little on the side of raunchy.
Saying thank you doesn't almost encompass what I think most people feel about Mike's contribution.
But he's also, without a question, an excellent teacher.
And he's just such he's a nice man who cares about this college.
Mike is retiring, and well-deserved. And I think he's ready to do some things with his family and other kinds of things.
Debbie is BSC.
Debbie, well, boy, I think when you think of our presidents, they've been lucky to have that girl.
I have known Debbie for 38 years, and she's been a great colleague, friend, and just mentor. I can't say enough good about Debbie.
She's an awesome individual.
She has worked closely with 3 presidents with vastly different personalities and vision, and yet she has been instrumental to their success, each and every one of them.
She started with Kermit, and then she trained me, and now she's trained Larry. Occasionally people will say to me, you know, what do you miss most? Well, first it's the people, and second it's Debbie. I have nobody to organize my life.
And she keeps them in line. She's not afraid of saying, tick, 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 tick. You do this, or this, and they listen because they respect her and they know how hard she works.
She really is who runs BSC. That's very true. And I would just add to that, she's also very bossy. I have seen her with all 3 presidents that she worked for go into their office and literally interrupt a meeting and say, you must leave now and you get to your next meeting. Truly, bossy.
They know they can push her just so far, but she's going to keep them on track. She's been able to do her job quite well, I think, up here.
And we tease her, and we'll always say we got to check with the boss, and a lot of times people think it's President Scogan, but really we all know it's Debbie, that she's the boss around here.
Well, I'll tell you, you want to be on our good side, because if you're not, you don't get access.
First, I must tell you that the day that they announced that I was going to be president of this college, the announcement was made in the student union. I was downtown, I got a phone call. Chancellor made an offer to me, I accepted the offer. And he said, well, come back up to the student union, there's going to be a news conference here and we're going to announce your selection. So I walked in the student union and Kermit Lidstrom, who was on the search committee, was standing there leaning against the wall in the student union. And he motioned me to come over, and I walked over to him and he says, you want to know what your #1 job is when you start here? And I said, what's that? And he pointed over at Debbie Van Berkom standing across the room and he says, keep her from retiring. He said, that's the most important person on this campus. And now I failed. So after all these years, Debbie is now going to retire.
She's so perfectly organized. It's just remarkable. You need something from 1979, she's got it. 99 times out of 100, she's got it.
She's a linchpin that makes many things happen in this college that people don't realize.
Her depth of understanding of the community and the college and her sensitivity to how people will react to what's coming out of this office is just tremendous.
You know, anytime you need something and you call up there, has this vast array of knowledge and understanding of what's happening on campus. And I love her laugh.
She's a true professional. She probably knows a lot of things that would make a good book someday.
Debbie, and this is what people maybe don't know. First of all, she has a great sense of humor, and she is an amazing person.
And it's fun watching her operate, and she is not seeking the limelight. She's just there doing her job, helping the president be better. She's got a handle on a lot of what we do, and more importantly, of why is it we do things like that.
So she understands what it takes to make the president successful in their position.
She has an ability to, you know, maybe kind of get information out of people that maybe they don't realize are getting to her if she feels like she needs it.
She has the neatest way of telling people you're stupid and that you're not getting an appointment and leave. They never, she tells them where to go and they say, thank you, thank you. She also has the best dumb blonde act in the world. I don't know. I love Debbie.
I don't think in those first 2 or 3 years on the campus I had a single friend in the administrative group that I could trust and believe, except for one. I had Debbie.
She really is a legacy, and we're all replaceable. We know that, but she will be difficult to replace.
She's a great friend.
I've worked in several different offices and for a couple different companies in my career, and I can honestly say that one of the best employees that I've ever worked with is Debbie Van Berkom.
Debbie walked into my office one Saturday afternoon, and she was a lifesaver, period. That's all I have to say about it.
Debbie, my darling. Cover of presidents' butts. There's not a president we've had that could have survived without you, and you know it.
Now, seriously, I'm going to miss you a lot, and I don't want to get emotional, but you know, you're one of my best friends here, and the difference you've made for BSC and the part of our history impact that you've had on BSC is huge, and I'm going to truly miss you.
She's actually retiring because she hears that I may retire in a few years, and she does not want to train another president. So, but Debbie, you've been a great part of our lives here, and we're going to miss you and wish you the best on your retirement.